Hello and welcome to Be Shifted. You're back. Glad to have you. I'm Addison. Thank you for joining. Today we're going to talk about hydraulic presses, what you can use them for, how to modify them if they're not really what you want them to be, and how to make sure they're working correctly. Thanks for joining. Alright, so what I did here is I just measured with some calipers the distance between the two edges here, set it at 0.75, and now I'm just kind of gauging where I'd like that bolt to go. And we are going to mark it. Like so. I'll come in with my center punch. Hit that a couple times. And then I'm starting off with a 5/64 bit, moving up to a 3/16, a 5/16, and a 1/2. I'm going to take my caster. Has a brake on the other side. I've already put one on that doesn't have a brake. So, and there, got the lock washer. All right, and the easiest way I've found to do this is taking a pair of vice grips, coming in on this little plate because it spins. You can see the bolt spins with it. So just take the vice grips and grab this little plate, but on the other side, obviously, because the vice grips won't fit in here. You just grab that little plate and the bracket that it's on. Now the unit is one, and you can come in with just a regular ratchet and ratchet this thing down. Alternatively, you could use an impact wrench or impact driver. Cool. Casters are on. I'll see you back over at the press. I have my brake caster in front, my non-braked caster in the back, and with this particular hydraulic press, the assembly is incredibly simple. There's 4 bolts for the feet, and then for the, what are they called? For the springs up top, there's 1 or 2 bolts, one on each side of the actual hydraulic ram, and you literally just thread them through, tighten them down, and put the spring over it. It is super easy. So I'm gonna put this these wheels on real quick, these legs on, and I'll get back with you in a second. All right, sad to say this is one of the first times I've used a jack stand for something other than a vehicle. I got a speed square here. You can see that my feet are out of alignment. We're gonna get as close as possible. I'm not gonna go too crazy with it, being as it's on casters. So you can see now we're pretty out of square, but I just put these bolts finger tight. That's square right there. Check for square on the other side. Good. I'm going to go for that much torque. There you go. I'm going to do the same to the other side. These are the two bolts I was talking about, here and here. Other than those two bolts, the only other hardware is those four down there on the bottom, and then these two eye bolts. They have a nut on the bottom side. You can set your tension to whatever you want. The manual doesn't really tell you. So what I did is I took my speed square and measured the height of both of these eye bolts and just made them even. I think I did like 2 and I think it was like 7/8. I want to say height 2 inches and 7/8. 2 and 7/8 inches. So that's what I came up with. Seemed to work out for me pretty well. Now the hydraulic jack, I'm going to go through here in a second about how you bleed it, what it looks like, what you're supposed to do. I actually had to go buy some hydraulic oil today because I looked at it yesterday and I looked at the process in the manual and it didn't really make sense and I wasn't seeing what it was telling me to see. So we're going to kind of work through that one together. I've never actually bled a bottle jack before. I've bled plenty of things, but not a bottle jack. So we'll figure that out. The plate here, the only reason it's hanging up is because it's on these springs. Obviously, if it wasn't on the springs, it would fall. The bottle jack does not bolt to the actual frame. That is a discrepancy from something. It's another discrepancy that I saw from the video that they played on the actual website that I purchased this from. They actually had a plate that you bolted this jack to, which I would have appreciated because it's a little, I mean, you can turn it in there. Obviously, if it's under pressure, it's going to be a lot harder to turn, but still, it's one of those kind of, I might go modify that later when I buy a welder. Pretty excited about welders. So now you have your 2 pins here. These feel pretty heavy. I don't think I would be too far off in saying these might be hardened steel, stainless steel, looks like. So you just slip your pin into the holes. Now, what I might end up doing as well is drilling a hole through these pins and putting another pin through it and rivet or just peening over the head so that it doesn't come out. Because what I did notice is when I laid this down, these pins immediately fell out, and then that, I'll show you here in a second, the actual pressing platform slid all the way up and slammed, and it wasn't an enjoyable sound inside of this garage. So anyway, you make sure your height is level on both sides. Found the hole. Alright, found the hole. Now, you have your pressing plate here. Pretty standard. What you're going to do, you're going to turn it. And there it sets. Sets right there on your pins. And then from there, you can grab your pressing plates that came with it. And now you're ready to press. You have your handle here. This was affordable. So it's not over-engineered, but I would even venture to say that it wasn't much engineered past, get a bottle jack, get a ram, and some metal and weld it together. So I'm probably going to modify this to be a little bit more solid, maybe even actually put a handle on it. I'll probably put a handle on it. And I also want to fashion some sort of hook system where I can just set this down, because right now what I've come up with is just kind of setting it through the handle like that. Now that's something you can totally do, but I just want something a little bit more clean. I might even just do something right there. Actually, yeah, that appeals to me more. Let me know what you think. I mean, I guess I could just rest it up top like that, but I'm a little extra, so I might play with it a little bit. So yeah, come on in for the jack bleeding, and then we'll wrap this up. All right, here's our fill plug. The directions have one on the side. I think it's this side if I'm looking at it correctly. I don't see one over here. There is not one over here. This is the only thing I can find. Again, a little bit of a discrepancy. That's fine. This is just a rubber plug. When you first get your press, this is going to be painted. Again, it's affordable, not, overly engineered or anything. So they tell you to check the fluid level, but as you can probably not actually see, you can't tell anything from that. I mean, I can you see anything at all? I cannot. So what I'm going to go for is, until I can see fluid actually oozing out of here, that's going to tell me this thing has been properly bled. So that's what we're going to go for. And I just actually, my wife had a perfume bottle, and it works perfectly for filling up this little spot. You could also get, a 90-degree funnel, or even just kind of throw the fluid in there if you want. That might work. I'm not saying it wouldn't. Might take you a little bit longer. Anyway, that's open. Now we're going to take our handle, and it says, insert the handle, apply pressure to the saddle, and pump the handle quickly several times. Apply pressure to the saddle. So the pressure to the saddle is going to be coming from the spring. And so we are supposed to be pumping quickly several times. Nothing. I don't see any fluid coming out. Check the fluid hole. If necessary, top off the fluid hole. So, all right. That's not working anymore. And I have hydraulic oil everywhere. I've got this little funnel here. Well, that's not going to work. Oh! Hold on a minute. Come on. Oh. We're back at it, folks. I'm going to ride the wave as long as I can. It's working. I don't know how empty this thing is, but I've been pumping. Oh, I died. Come on. What is the magic combination here? Ah, maybe? No. Yep. Yep. Nope. Lost it. Twist. Is it a twist and a... Yep. Twist and a pull, maybe? Hi. Keep going. Just don't stop. I shouldn't do that. I mean, I don't think there's any fluid in here at all. Oh. I think I figured out what I'm doing. I was tightening the screw back up. You're supposed to open the screw. Then you're supposed to pump. A few times fast. I ain't got nothing. That's why I want to fix that handle. They said pump it fast. A little too fast. Okay. Nothing. I don't see any fluid. This is nice. It's working. That's also a lot of fluid that I'm putting in there. I think I'm just going to go ahead and fill up this whole reservoir real quick. Well, it's pumping like a champ now. Oh, there it is. Found it. I found the fabled hydraulic fluid that was supposed to be in here. All right. I gotta be smart about it. Let's do one of these. Get back in there. Maybe a little twist. No, don't. Okay, no twist. Maybe. We're in. All right. Now, see how much pressure we get it. Test the ramp several times after purging if it doesn't seem to be working properly. Do not use the ramp. Okay, so take that, tighten our screw back up in there. Now we are, let's see how much this thing pumps. Oh yeah. It's a whole lot of pump. Straighten it up a little bit. Solid pump action here. Don't get too excited. Not that kind of pump action. Although, Merca. Anyway. Alright. Anybody want to squish something? I do. So, if you're watching this channel, you may or may not know what you would generally use a hydraulic press for. So, I'm going to try to not mansplain, of course, because that would be bad. However, just go over the basics of the hydraulic pump. Okay? Turn this guy around. With my new casters. Okay, so with your hydraulic bottle jack press. That's what this is called, bottle jack press, because of the bottle. You have obviously a bottle jack, your springs, your battering, not your battering ram, but it's called the ram. It's this thing. You have your plates, stuff you set things on. You'll notice this is your handle for the jack. You'll notice on your plates you have holes, diamonds. Those are small diamonds. You have large diamonds, and then my hands are really slippery with this hydraulic fluid, so I don't want to drop them, but you also have a little bit smaller hole. You can also just use the solid plate. What I plan on using this for is replacing bushings for the front end components, the suspension, obviously, the rear end components. I toyed with the idea of tubular, all the stuff, and it already comes pre-made, which is nice. But it's also like really expensive, and I don't have that kind of scratch. So I thought, you know what? Save myself a lot of time, a lot of money. I'll buy this thing, and then I can just buy the rubber, or some manufacturers like PST use polygraphite. I've always heard that polygraphite squeaks. So, and I've used PST before on a 70 Oldsmobile F85, which is the 442, but with a 350. And it felt amazing. I drove that car, I want to say, for a year without, like, with the entire old suspension, and then I bought new springs, new front end and rear end suspension, and it handled almost as good, if not better, than today's vehicles, modern vehicles. And it was a blast to drive because the 350. It had a 2-barrel carburetor on it, but still, it was wonderful. So, I said all that to say, the hydraulic press here is not, I'm not going to be using it to crush ball bearings or really mess around too much. It's going to be very much giving you guys a way, like showing you a way to do what you want to do with your vehicle or vehicles and not have to pay a shop hundreds, maybe even thousands, depending on where you live, of dollars, using tools that you can get your hands on. Like, you really can. Believe me, if I can find one, and this thing was very affordable, if I can find one, put it together and put it to good use, I guarantee you can as well. With your newfound confidence now, you should go find one of these. You should go get it and put it together and send me a picture. Send me a picture of what you do, or what you're planning to do. Maybe just leave a comment on the video below. What are you planning on doing with a hydraulic press? I mean, if you just want to squish things, have fun. It's super fun to squish things. If you are like me and you want to get things done with it, let me know. I'd be really interested to find out. Or if you already have a hydraulic press, some sort of press, and you already use it, let me know. I would love to hear what you use and kind of what brands you all use and what's affordable for, a 30-something person with kids and a job. So, yeah. Anyway, back to this. So when you're trying to press, for me, let's just go off of ball joints. For example, if I wanted to replace the ball joints, I need to get a ball joint press, traditionally, which is a C-clamp, and it's just a bunch of cups, basically, that you put around the old ball joint. You push it out of the control arm, and then you reverse that process, putting the new ball joint into the control arm. With a hydraulic press, you remove the C-clamp, and it's a little less awkward. With that C-clamp, you're I mean, unless you have a vise, you're, rotating, but you're also trying to make sure the C-clamp doesn't rotate, so you're kind of holding it like this and holding it like this, and then you're trying to make sure that everything's in a straight line, because the last thing you want to do is bend your control arm, because then you got to buy a brand new control arm. And if you're going to be buying a brand new control arm, you might as well buy a tubular control arm. And then what was the point of even trying to replace your bearings and ball joints, right? So doing it the right way is, there's two ways to do it. There's two ways to do things. The right way, and again, I learned that from one of my friends. And that stands true not just in mechanics, but in everything. But anyway, this helps you this basically holds everything for you. So you put your part in here, you put your cups on it, and then all you have to do is hold one piece and do that. Keeps you in a straight line. Things fall out. Super easy. And there are a whole host of things that you can do with a press. So I think I've gone on long enough about what a press is and why it's great. I would love to hear what you do with it in your life, or if you've looked at one and just kind of not wanted to pull the trigger because maybe A, you don't have a project yet, or B, you're working on something else, or C, you just didn't really know about them that much, which if you didn't, I hope this helped. And let me know in the comments. I would really like to know. I would really, really like to know. Thank you. And I hope you were shifted today.